And we are live. Hello to anyone who is here. If you are listening to this on the TGOF or on any place where those good old fashioned values podcasts are listening, this is going to be a little different. Ty and Spencer, nowhere to be found. This is a recorded live stream that I am doing with me and a couple friends. So if this has a different vibe, that is why. That is just wanted to get a heads up in case this gets uploaded on, say, the SoundCloud or something. In any case, welcome. This is the spoilercast / review of the new Kirby game that just came out a few weeks ago, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I am Andy of those good old-fashioned values, as you probably know. Joining me today is Lid of youtube.com / through the lidless eye, and
hello.
And Eli of 5poison twitter.com / 5poisonskid.
And here we are.
Yeah. This is the first podcast that I have ever led by myself with in this account, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a little experiment, but I think it should go well. So before we go into our feelings on the game, I think it might be nice to give people a brief summary of our histories with the Kirby franchise, since, Kirby's a pretty long series. This year is its 30th anniversary. I believe Dreamland 1 came out April 92. Feel free to fact check me on that. I don't know for certain. I do know it was 92.
Actually, yeah. There's actually a bit of trivia. It came out April 27th, and there's a clock tower in this game, which is set to 4/27.
Those fucking bastards. My birthday was the next day. I could have had the same birthday as the Kirby series. How dare they? But Lid, would you like to go first? Would you like to give a quick 1 to 2 paragraph, maybe a little longer, synopsis of your history with the Kirby series?
Well, when I was young, I first tried Kirby with only the best installment and most iconic in the series.
Are you going to do YouTuber voice the entire fucking stream?
No, but I'm still not in the zone. I feel a little too self-conscious, I feel like I'm on the nerd crew.
Okay. God, yeah, I get that.
But yeah, the first Kirby game that I ever played was Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
For the Game Boy Color?
Which is obviously a somewhat unorthodox game as far as the series goes. As far as the actual platformers go, when I was young, I mostly played Kirby's Adventure, Nightmare in Dreamland, and Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. And then once I was old enough to have my own money, I have now basically gone down the rabbit hole of the entire series, and my brain is irreparably poisoned by this pink fluff.
I see. Did you watch Right Back at You as a kid?
I did watch Right Back at You as a kid.
All right, that's pretty good. Eli, would you like to go next?
Sure. My first Kirby game was either also Kirby Tilt and Tumble or Kirby 64. I don't remember which came first. Kirby 64 is one of my favorites. Kirby Tilt and Tumble, not so much.
Damn.
I'd say that was one of the... You know when you're a kid and you get a game and it can't occur to you that a game you're playing is bad, or at least not to your sensibilities. So you just keep playing it and get frustrated. That's how I thought about Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
Man, that game was really hard, huh?
Yeah, to me at least, or at least to child Eli, I haven't played it since. But Kirby 64 uh, introduced me to the series, and it was a wonderful game. And I've played nearly every entry in the series now, and it is one of my favorite video game series.
All right. So my history with Kirby is a little different. These two got into Kirby in the early 2000s. I got into Kirby like 5-10 years later than you guys, depending on how. I'm also a little younger than both of them. So my first Kirby game was technically no, I think Brawl was my first. Technically, I would count Subspace Emissary is like half of a Kirby game, I think.
Yeah.
But my first real Kirby game, I remember when I got my Wii in like 2008. A few months in, I think after I got Brawl, got a one of the 200-point Nintendo Wii Shop Channel card, and I got 4 NES games off the Virtual Console. I got Mario 3, Zelda 1, Castlevania 1, and Kirby's Adventure. So Kirby's Adventure was my proper introduction to the series. It's great. I also, as a kid, got Superstar Ultra for the DS. It's kind of funny that I started with the original version of one game and then the remake of the other. And then, as I developed my own money as going forward, and also the knowledge and ability to use emulators, I've played most of the games in the series. The only mainline Kirby games that I have not fully completed are Dreamland 3, 64, and Star Allies. I just beat Return to Dreamland on stream. Watch my streams. A few weeks ago.
Andy, do you mean that you haven't played them or haven't beaten them?
I have not. Okay, I've played maybe like 2 or 3 levels of 64, but I have not beaten the first world in any of them, and I have not touched Star Allies. Period. So that
those would be good stream games. But yeah.
No. Next time I stream Kirby, I'm planning on tackling the Dark Matter trilogy in order. Anyway, so yeah, that's I think a rough estimate of our histories with the Kirby franchise. Oh, also, my favorite Kirby game is Planet Robobots. Lid is Amazing Mirror, and yours is also Robobot, Eli?
It's hard to say.
I wonder
because I could pick that as my favorite and just say sure, but there are things that other games do that Robobot doesn't, so it's hard to just
out of curiosity before we go in. I haven't asked you this. Is this in the running for your favorite?
This is my favorite 3D platformer.
Oh. God damn. That is high praise.
Yes.
All right. So that is not the thing I was meaning to go into, but I'm going to I guess I was that gives Eli a little spoiler, but I'm going to give a quick synopsis of my feelings on that game. Since go first, and I'm going to say Kirby and the Forgotten Land is an incredibly focused and deliberate jump to 3D. It is a Kirby game that is a bit more restrained, a bit more aimed in some ways, more experimental in other ways than previous games in the series. But I would say it is not aiming for best game in the series. What it is aiming for is to be perhaps the most smooth transition to 3D in the entire industry, like in the history of gaming. And I think at that it mostly succeeds, with a few blemishes here and there, really keeping it from being my favorite game. But this game did land comfortably in my top 3. If you look at my backlogged account, I may post a link to that in the chat. Lid, would you like to give your a rough synopsis of your feelings on this game?
I think that Kirby and the Forgotten Land is, generally speaking, a very solid video game. I think that it does very few things wrong, but overall, I think that it is a game that, as people have said, it feels like Kirby has always been 3D, and in that sense, I think that this game doesn't feel as fresh as it could have.
Yeah, you can get that sense. All right, Eli?
This feels like instead of HAL Laboratory making the Kirby 64 that they made a 3D Kirby 64 back in 2000, and then have been making 3D Kirby games since then. It is so confident in what it's doing. I don't think it's perfect, and I guess at some point we can go into what I think are the faults of this game, but I was going in with the expectation I would enjoy it, but as I said, I think this is appealing to my sensibilities in a way that this is my favorite 3D platformer.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny you say that, because Mario Odyssey ended up being, I would say, my favorite 3D platformer. So it's, we both have a Switch platformer as our favorite.
Which is, I've actually been replaying that. I do think that is a good game, but while replaying it, I'm like, you know what I wish I was playing right now? Kirby and Forgotten.
I would like to also clarify for Eli and in case you didn't know, I did not do a lot of post-game content. That might change my opinion on that game a little bit. Anyway, so now that we've laid the groundwork, you kind of can tell how we're feeling about this game. You know where we stand. I think it's best to sort of branch off and talk about a lot of the different aspects of this game. So I'm going to start off with, all right, Eli, give me your favorite or least favorite, and then your general feelings on the copy abilities in this game.
Well, my favorite. So we can spoil things, right?
Oh yeah, the spoiler cast is in the title. If you are upset at spoilers, this is your own fault. You clicked on a video with spoiler in the title.
So my favorite is Morpho Sword.
Mm-hmm. I have actually not unlocked that.
Oh.
I mean, I know it exists, but I just haven't gotten to use it.
It is the best final weapon in the series, in my opinion.
It's pretty cool.
It is incredibly overpowered, hilariously. And then, least favorite. Okay, so I'm not going to say like the regular sleep ability, because obviously that's just useless. I don't know that there's anyone I would consider actually that I didn't like, but I guess maybe Cutter.
Cutter is on the weaker end. I would agree with that.
But I feel like it does have kind of a nerf going to 3D, but it's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. So my favorite copy ability has actually changed a little bit since using them. My favorite copy ability is fucking Space Ranger, because it does so much damage at a good range too. It is absurd that it fires a charge shot that also generates a black hole that you can also shoot the enemy while they are inside the black hole. It's insane. It's like thematically cool, because Kirby wearing like an astronaut helmet that has cold jacks, like people, that was one of the things that people got from the trailers is, oh my god, Kirby has a gun now. But it's so just like satisfying to use mechanically. Now, funnily enough, well, I do think there are clever uses for it, and I think it has some really good puzzle design. My least favorite copy ability in the game is actually Drill. Uh, the new one is the best and the worst ability in the game. Because here's the thing. At no point in Drill can you just attack an enemy directly in front of you. You either go underground or you jump in the air and dive forward, and that is annoying.
There are situations where you just do an attack in front of you, such as in the water.
Yeah, but that's like not common. You don't fight any of the bosses, for example, in the water.
I do want to say I also really love Space Ranger.
Yeah, Space Ranger's so good.
That would be like in my top 3, basically. So.
Yes. Now, Lid, I would like to know, you are technically allowed to say the answer I think you might say for favorite copy ability.
The answer, of course, the correct answer is none.
Well,
the correct answer is I prefer to play with as few copy abilities as possible.
So wouldn't your favorite then be Deep Sleep because
my favorite is indeed Deep Sleep.
Yeah,
Deep Sleep's so good though.
Yeah, it's cool they made sleep useful. Every time after I got Deep Sleep, every time I saw one of those little sleep fuckers, I used it because it's like, oh man, I could get a speed boost or a strength up. That's really, really good. And having strength up can make some boss fights kind of trivial. I also think it's really good. What's your least favorite, Lid?
Probably Crash.
Did you get Time Crash?
I did get Time Crash. I don't think. I just don't think it's particularly fun.
See, that's interesting because I really like how like keeping a Time Crash meter going feels. I think this is undeniably the best like limited usage screen nuke in the entire series for me.
I think it's cool that Kirby has Dio stand. I just think that's cool.
Oh yeah, no, fucking. If copyright laws were more loose, he would go, that was no.
I also want to say, in terms of Lid's preference for no copy abilities, I haven't done the like true arena stuff. But I've done all like the regular bosses at least once without a copy ability, and it's a different experience. Some I'd say it's more fun. Some I'd say it's less. But if you like this game, it's worth doing it, at least once like that.
So, as a person that normally likes to always have a copy ability on them at all times, I think that this is the most I found myself using no copy abilities. Also because you don't have to suck back in the stars. They regenerate as like an individual hat that stays on the ground. Like it's a lot easier to just like while you're trying to get back, suck up some stars and get some free damage in. But even still, like it's really good for no damage runs whenever you have to do like a Waddle Dee quest that does that. It's just like this is I think the most interesting that no copy abilities has been in a Kirby game. And I'm curious to see if they can add anything on top of it going forward.
I have a small question. This is pretty brief. I just want to ask.
Sure.
Did you two use Control Scheme A or Control Scheme B? I'm going to assume that you both turned Auto Swallow off as I did.
Yes.
But I used Control Scheme B.
I turned Auto Swallow off. And I also thank you for letting me use left button to suck, bottom button to jump. That was very nice of you, game. Also, thank you for letting me switch to inverted controls in the glider section, because if you didn't do that, I would have complaints. You know what? This seems like a good transition as well. Let's do least favorite and favorite mouthful mode ability. I think I'll actually start with least favorite because it's obvious. It's safe. Safe sucks. It feels kind of awkward. It's clunky. It always feels like it's taking longer than it should. Cut safe. Favorite? I think I'm gonna go with car. I think the car is really fun. It's always creative. I love the racing sections they do for it. I love how, like, even in times where you're not being trialed, there are always like little speed run techniques you can take advantage of, like by using the jump feature. Car's great. It's also why wheel isn't in this game, because this game has a very limited use of copy abilities, and a large part of that is because some of them are just mouthful mode. Lid, would you like to go next?
I suppose. Least favorite. I mean, it's definitely, like you said, anytime that you got to suck up a cabinet or something, it's just it feels almost as if it's a disguised loading screen or something.
Yeah.
Favorite, probably the glider.
Yeah, no. Glider's solid. By the way, Eli, Lid, if you have something that you would like to say or bring up and don't feel like I'm giving enough time to, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to let me know, because this is a joint stream. This isn't just my stream.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I want to go over, but I figure like that'll wait, and if you don't bring it
Yeah,
up,
yeah. I'll definitely. I think I'll have a segment at the end where we can just bring up random thoughts. But best to go over the overs. One thing I did want to bring up about copy abilities that I forgot to mention in the copy ability section is that, like, because this game is going into 3D, and because of Mount Mold, not only are there a very small amount of copy abilities, I think like 12 is the max.
Yep.
yeah,
There's also just, like, I feel like every like the most a copy ability has is like 3 moves, maybe 4, depending on how you count it.
I think Morpho Knight has the most, and that's maybe like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I kind of wished every ability had like 5 or 6 moves, because it's kind of like Hammer. You can't do the rolling spin anymore. That's great. There aren't enough ways to cheese out iframes, although that's because Kirby can naturally cheese out iframes. But we'll talk about that when we get to the
We'll get to
bosses.
that.
Yeah. But
So my least favorite mouthful mode was also actually I didn't think it was a safe. I just called them like the file cabinets. But
yeah,
obviously last place. And my favorite, it's actually funny, we have 3 different favorites with the vending machine.
vending machine's very good. Did you all? Because Lid warned me beforehand, so I knew. When you got the vending machine that had 3 of them, did you get tripped
That
up?
was so funny.
That was so. It's like you assholes. You know what you did.
It ruled.
Oh yeah,
It's so funny.
It's great. It's great. Now I will say, vending machine, it's kind of an obvious least favorite of the ones that, like, I know that are like actually interesting uses that are like they're trying. Are there any that people here don't like? Lid, I know you weren't a big fan of water.
No. It's it's slow, and it's probably the one that I found the most uncomfortable. I don't like that he has a bit of like transparency, like a water balloon. Like before the game came out, a lot of people were talking about like how they found like him wrapping his mouth around a car and things to be uncanny. But honestly, I think just inflating Kirby to that ridiculous size, in addition to making him slightly transparent, is
See, I
the
look
weirdest
at
one
that
for me.
and I go, that's the funniest fucking thing in this entire series.
Yeah, I'm with Andy. I think it.
I
Very
all I think of is I think Kirby just looking at the screen and going, I'm so full of cigarettes. Yum. Just in a stupid jiggling form. I would say personally, I didn't think any of the mouthful mode abilities were particularly bad, aside from save. I was gonna lump Dome in here, but then they use it in the final boss in a cool way, so it's redeemed. I will say one thing that just occurred to me is that I think it's kind of lame that roller coaster is only a turn, that you can't jump with it. I understand it makes sense, because why would a roller coaster be able to jump? But, because it's, like, locked into the tracks. But I think it would be cool to have, like, instead of the sections where it's just turn, it be a literal, here's a DKC minecart section.
They're saving that for the good 3D Donkey Kong game that they're definitely going to make. It will be good.
There was a rumor. Here's hoping. Also, speaking of Donkey Kong, this is a random thought. There aren't any of the barrels in this game.
Yeah, I don't really mind that. I didn't notice.
I noticed, because I'm just like, oh, where are the cannons that shoot you into direction and act like the Donkey Kong Country barrels? It's kind of weird.
It's probably just because if they did put those in, they would probably just have to still be 2D. It would probably be difficult to.
Yeah, I mean,
depth and angles in 3D
Donkey Kong 64 had a 3D minecart section,
and it sucked.
My exact thought was the in Donkey Kong 64 when you're going through the barrels in the sky and how ridiculous those are. And the thing is, because that's sort of a first-person perspective, that probably would actually be better than what I was imagining. In third person, I don't think it would work very.
I mean, yes, but everything in Donkey Kong 64 sucks. Okay. So, I guess the best place to move towards next would be, we'll save the bosses for next. Right now, let's just go over each of the individual worlds and talk about them. Let me look up their names so that I can get them correct. I hope you're liking the typing ASMR. Sorry, it's not being edited out. For people who are watching this on podcast. Okay. Is there a list? Okay, so start off with natural plains. Your standard grassy level. Downtown grassland through the downtown grassland, the intro area, downtown grassland, and Brawl at the Mall were all in the demo. Me and Lid, I remember we played the demo. Eli did not.
Yep.
What were you saying, Eli?
I said, yeah, I didn't play the demo.
So one thing before we talk about the levels themselves is just like, man, that fucking anime intro opening with lyrics was not in the demo, and seeing that was kind of insane. It's such a good pull.
What's also really good about that is because it's in basically a fake language, you would assume that if there is going to be any other voice acting, it will be in that fake language, and then they
subvert your
put
expectations.
voice acting in English.
Yes. I would also like to say, maybe we could have some sort of English cover.
Genuine question.
Yes.
Is that song in a fake language, or is it just in Japanese?
I think
I
it's
in a fake language.
Yeah, because they have fake subtitles. My assumption is that it's a fake language that deliberately sounds like Japanese. But I don't know for certain, because there is fake writing language all throughout the game, but I don't think it's actual real Japanese words.
Or I just watch like Japanese things and say, what fake language are they speaking? Maybe it's that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fake language, Japanese. So then, so I think this is a pretty good intro level. I would say Trip to the Mall. It's probably my favorite of the first levels. A lot of them are pretty solid. It's been a while since I played this level, if I'm being honest. Do you have anything to say about Natural Plains, Eli? Anything take away? Any favorite level? Let me get you.
I like how the music through the tunnel, and I want to talk about the music in its own section.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
But I like how that sounds like Kirby 64 without actually being a mix of anything.
Yeah,
64.
yeah. Lid,
Hmm?
do you have anything to say about Natural Prince levels?
I like them all.
Okay, okay.
The question is, did I just say that I like them all, or that I like the mall? I'm gonna let the audience decide that one.
They're both very good. So then we get to Everbay Coast. It's a pretty good water level, but I think it might be the weakest in the game, just because I don't think it has a ton of super interesting ideas. I really like Fast Flowing Waterworks. I think that's a really creative, maybe one of the best sewer levels in gaming, just because it's a sewer level and it's very pleasant to play through. Eli, do you?
One thing I will say that's great about Everything in World 2 is that there is no underwater section.
Yeah, no.
And
For those who have not played the game, listen to this. You float on top of the water in a little inner tube, so it is impossible to go underwater for this game. I think for a first 3D Kirby game, that was a very smart decision.
And I mean, 3D swimming is like incredibly hit or miss. And I actually, for something like this, I don't think it would really have benefited if they don't do it in future titles. I'd be fine with that. I mean, Worlds 1 and 2, are like, perfectly good, but it really does pick up.
Oh yeah, Wonderia Remains is it, and Winterhorns both. We'll get into Winterhorns in a second. I think are the clear standout for best overall levels for me, and I think Wonderia is a little better. I think it's the best world in the game. Every single level in that is good. I like the intro where you get to go to the park, and there's also the ducks that you have to send their mama. I think the racetrack level's great. You got the haunted house level, which was a big part of the trailers and is really cool. And then you've
Andy, before this game came out, I said, kind of jokingly, this is going to be near Automata, but good. And then Kirby goes to an amusement park.
I have not played Nier Automata, but I don't think it's a bad video game. Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. Lynn, do you think Nier Automata?
They go to a mall. They go to an amusement park. They go to a desert. They're actually just the same game.
Yeah, no.
Except this is better.
Which has the harder true final boss?
I don't know. I dropped it,
So Lynn,
So here's the thing. I have seen the credits of both games.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you've seen the true ending in Nier Automata.
Yeah, I don't believe that I did get ending E. I did get C or D, though. Which is, like, close enough. But I have not defeated Emil in Nier Automata. And I have not finished the Ultimate Cup Z. So really, I don't think I'm qualified to speak on which super secret boss is
interesting. Okay. I also wanna say that also Wonderia is where I think the music starts picking up. Winterhorns is great. Winterhorns is one of the best ice levels in gaming. I love frozen abandoned castles. That is such a good aesthetic. Very excited to play.
Everything about this game being abandoned is great, but that might be my favorite too.
Just for that part, I have not played Dark Souls 3. That is the part of Dark Souls 3 that I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be so cool when I go there. Pun not intended.
Bloodborne 2 has a good frozen castle.
I'm assuming Elden Ring has a frozen castle because it has everything ever.
Yeah.
It's not a particularly.
Or like a fort, but.
Yeah, it's not one of the major dungeons, but there is a castle in a snow area.
Okay. Yeah, no, Winterhorn. So I have a question for both of you. So, Battle of the Blizzard Bridge. You can go off to the side at the beginning, get a maximum tomato. Did you know that apparently you can climb the blocks near it and fight a harder version of the mini boss rush and get basically just some extra coins for it. Now, I don't even think you get a gacha capsule.
Yeah, I not only did I know that, I learned that after I beat the game.
Yes, same.
But, something I found in the game was in World 5 how there's at the end of the level there is a gate, and part of that gate is open and leads to a hotel. And did you either of you two find that?
Maybe? Alright, I'm gonna ask this now since we're talking about obscure hidden shit. Anyone here find... Well, Eli, you 100% of the game, so I assume the answer is yes. I don't think I did. Oh, yeah, wait, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did find the hotel hidden behind the end of the level. Eli, Lid, did anyone here find a howl room? Because I didn't.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
There are apparently at least 3 in the game.
God. Okay.
Wow. I found 0.
Yeah, no, they're hidden. Yeah, series tradition.
I later found out that I did like half of the steps necessary to find one of them, but I don't remember how to do the other 2 at all.
Do you remember what level it was in?
It's the in World 6. It's the factory. There's a control room off to the side. After you interact with that, you need to go all the way back to the start of the level.
Oh, okay.
That's insane.
So then, Winterhorn's favorite level, it's kind of tough to say just thinking about it. Probably Northeast Frost Street, just because...
I mean, that music.
Oh, that music, dude, we'll talk about that when we get to soundtrack. Shout out to Kirby and the Forgotten Land for naming one of its levels Original Wasteland. I know that's not what its name is, but Original Wasteland is basically like, oh, I see what you did.
And then the first level in there is the wastes where life began.
Yeah, My assumption on what that means is that is where Elfine first crash landed.
I thought it was just that's where the Awoofies come from.
That's probably more accurate, but that's... I'm surprised. Do we? Yeah, because there is no giant fucking crater in this game that you would find. So maybe it's just like Nerve style, and they built a giant base around the crash site. Who knows? Orndale Wasteland. I appreciate it because here's the thing: we've all played Mario games, and the thing about Mario games is that they like putting desert levels near the beginning. So they're all early game levels. This is a late game desert level, so there's like a sense of like climactic grandeur to this level, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
I like that they're not afraid to, put a bunch of dust in front of you and make it hard to see sometimes.
I like the abandoned mall.
There's the temple.
Oh yeah.
The fire.
Yeah, and then that ends out on a giant epic canyon.
I love how in Worlds 4 and 5 you have these upgraded abilities now, and you get to really go to town on these levels with them. It's great.
Yeah, no. All of the upgrades are great. They're hidden really well. We'll talk about 100% completion in a little bit, but,
Which I have.
I have not. I'm sitting somewhere in the high 80s, I think. Maybe 90s.
I'm at 84%.
And then, finally, I guess we can talk about Isolated Isles in a second, but Redgar Forgotten Valley. We're obviously not going to talk about Lab Discovia until we start talking about bosses, because that's all it really is. But, man, Redgar Forgotten Valley is a very good, like, climactic level. When you get the intro of Enter the Fiery Forbidden Lands, and there's, like, this long star ride that shows all, like, the enemy forts and stuff in the volcanic area. It's like, ooh, This is a big building climax. Let's go.
I like how they have a boss rush, but I like even more how they have a basic enemy rush.
A basic
comes
enemy rush
after
that is
boss rush.
also a mouthful mode rush,
Yes.
which is very cool. Yeah, no, this game knows how to end in style. Do you guys I think the isolated isle levels are all cool. I don't like how fucking 5 of them all have the same song except for the boss fights. I think that's a bit lame.
I totally disagree.
No, I think it's a good song and I like the thematic, but I wish that I wish they all got a different original song as opposed I think what they did is better. That was me knocking my mouse into my keyboard. What I think they did is better than just having the normal level themes for each of them. But I don't. But it is just okay, it's 5 levels where I'm hearing the same song over again.
It's
I
a
think
banger.
It's fine.
It is a very
I
good
think
song.
it would have been more interesting if, for example, they had done different arrangements or something.
Yeah, like what Lid said.
Like with the map, how you with the map theme,
Yeah.
I could concede on that, but I think asking right, several totally different new ones would be a bit much to ask. Especially since Hirokazu Ando really brings it on that one. I really like the Isolated Isles. I was actually a little disappointed when I got all the Waddle Dees in World 1 that I did not unlock an EX stage. And it turns out it's just because they were all at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't.
Yeah, I noticed the EX stages were not here, and I'm like, okay. I like how the Waddle Dees tie into the hub world quite a bit, and I think it's the most interesting economy. Let's just talk about 100%ing right now. It's bullshit that how many times the game expects you to replay a level if you're going for 100% on your first playthrough.
Oh. Yep.
I don't agree.
Lid, you have the most to say, so I'm going to give the floor to you.
I think that the Waddle Dees are kind of bullshit, and the main reason that I haven't finished the Ultimate Cup Z is because, the game's already had 5 boss rushes. It's already had the previous 2 arenas, several boss rushes and mini boss rushes throughout the main stages, not to mention refighting them all in the Forgo Dreams.
I don't agree with that, but I was
expect you to do the same stuff too many times. The Waddle Dees, it only tells you where one more of them is each time you beat the level, and every time you go back to find Waddle Dees, you've got to play through the entire level again.
Okay,
just
yeah.
Exit back out.
All right, yes. Let's talk. My biggest problem. I have 2 big problems with this game. 1, what Lid just said. 2, this game doesn't have an option to reset from last checkpoint, and that would be very nice in several. It does for the glider sections and the roller coaster, anything that you can't normally redo. But it's I want to, especially when there's a point of no return. It's just annoying.
The only there's only I think 2 instances where that bothered me, which is the no hit against the Wild Twin Frosties, the no hit Clar line in the boss rush. Those 2 I totally agree with. The others, I never really saw that as an issue.
Yeah. Oh, the fuzzy. Don't talk to me about that fucking fuzzy one. Anyway, continue.
To me, it's not an issue of any of the individual Waddle Dees being too challenging of a task. It's just that there's so much of it. Like this game, it's only got 12 copy abilities. It's only got 20 levels, 10 bosses,
4 mini bosses.
It's the kind of thing where it on a single playthrough, just getting to the end, it is a very tight package.
And also, this
But-
game does not expect you to do, does not like force you to get 100% for anything.
Yeah,
I
but,
think it
but-
pops up in terms of the number of Waddle Dees you need to get everything in town is like 180 out of 300.
Yeah, no, which is very reasonable.
But doing 100% in general, which is clearly incentivized because every time you pause the game, it puts the number in front of you. You know, it just feels like they're really pushing the limit of how much of that tight experience they can recycle.
So I think having the Waddle Dees be like not only a thing that you go back to town for, but like having like secrets that you can unlock is very cool. I like it. I think they're a lot more their individual usage is a lot more creative than any of the like cube things in the previous in the Return to Dreamland era of Kirby. But it's just again, let me exit levels after I get a Waddle Dee. Let me restart from the last checkpoint more consistently. And like, yeah, and then just tell me where all of the what I need to do for all of them after I beat a level, and I would say 100% becomes fine. Also, thank you, Elfine. Thank you. The one thing that makes those Forgo Island levels bearable is that Elfine tells you when you've gotten all of Leon's soul, because otherwise those levels would be unbearable.
And if you go back, it tells you like, hey, in this area, I think we're missing 2 pieces. And
That's very good. That's also great. So that way you don't even have to remember where you left them. Thank you, game.
But I will say, I do disagree with both of you in the sense that, other than a few specific Waddle Dee missions, I really had no trouble. I thought this was not really a pain at all to get 100%, and I enjoyed most of what you had to do to get 100%. I enjoyed, including most of the Waddle Dee missions. So I guess just agree to disagree there.
So let's talk about something.
But I do think it's funny that you say that, and then your favorite 3D platformer is Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's the thing. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. But Mario Odyssey distracts you until you get halfway through the game. It is abundant 100% of the way through the game in Forgotten Land. Anyway,
And I would.
It does
also-
not distract me in Mario Odyssey.
I would add also the, in my opinion, somewhat obvious fact that Mario Odyssey is a platformer with much more interesting and varied movement.
yes, that is also true.
And thus, having repetitive objectives is less of an issue. When the
I'll say my answer to that is yes and no about its movement, but we can go into that on a Mario Odyssey podcast, I guess.
Yeah, I'll stream.
Let's just say I'm glad you do not have to shake the Joy-Cons during mouthful mode.
yeah.
That is true. That
You
is
know what
true.
else I will bring up in the Odyssey versus Forgotten Land discussion? Well, actually, is that like I was gonna. This game is it's actually not that. It's a different point, which is this game is kind of what I thought it was going to be, which is in terms of control and level design, which is what if Balan Wonderworld wasn't made by crazy people? In the sense of like, here are all these costumes and stuff. You can still they're all very simple and only need 2 buttons, but they still use 2 buttons. They never go, you can do everything in the game with 1 button. Why wouldn't you be able to? I just needed to get that in because I remember when the video game Balan Wonderworld was first revealed, I'm like, oh, this looks like what you would do for a 3D Kirby game, and then it was terrible. So
I think we can all agree that this is better than Balan Wonderworld.
Oh yeah,
This
yes.
is like that's a ridiculous comparison to even make.
And Lid. You, I think, are the most negative of not to say you dislike the game, but I would say you are the most critical of the game of the 3 of us. Would you still say this game is better than Star Allies?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
easily.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Cool.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I also think this game is better than Star Allies. Star Allies is the Warriors game of Kirby. That makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Of
And there are things
shallow,
I like in
but
it.
shallow with a ton of content. Well,
Exactly.
not at
There are
launch.
things I like in it though, but what does bother me is because it was a middling experience for a lot of it. People have taken that I've seen to be an indication that for a while now the Kirby series has been middling, and I would totally disagree with that considering Planet Robobot was 2016.
Yeah,
6 years ago, though. That depends on. I mean, I guess
would
technically
generally say
the
that
entire
since-
you could argue the entire Switch lifespan Kirby has been mid.
I would say that basically since Return to Dreamland, Kirby has been on quite a consistently positive streak.
Yes.
With Star Allies definitely being the weakest link.
And also
but-
their microtransactions bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The spin-offs, but normal people.
Yeah, that's true. Those only exist to freaks like us.
But do you want to talk about the bosses?
I actually wanted to go into a slightly different direction, which is let's talk about the ability challenges. I forget what their specific name is, but I think
Treasure Road.
Treasure Road. Let's talk about the Treasure Roads. I love the Treasure Roads. I think they're way better than their Return to Dreamland counterparts.
Once I realized that the time completion did not count for anything other than getting you a few more coins, I love them. If that did count toward 100%, I would not have gotten 100% this game.
Yeah, no. Oh, no. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine how...
Some of them are kind of rough.
Oh, yeah. Some of them you beat. Multiple of them I have beaten in... I missed the best time by less than 3 seconds. Less than a tenth of a second.
Yep.
I don't know why they included that in there, because it is, like, doing that is harder than most of, like, even the True Arena stuff. Like, it's ridiculous.
I like how you get different... they have a different song for each of the areas in the game as they get more difficult. I think they're really cool. I like how they transfer... not transfer. I like how the reward they gives you and for the whole game means that upgrading copy abilities, if you're doing all of them, is basically no issue. I will say, for the crystal stars, whatever the thing that you get to buy,
Rare
and to
stones.
purchase, the rare stones, man, it's really dumb that the best way to just get rare stones after you beat the game, and once they go, you can upgrade all of these copy abilities like 3 times, is just to grind the first arena. I do not like that, and every time I look at it, I'm like, why? Come on, man. Don't.
I only had to grind it when I was upgrading Morphinite's sword to maximum power, and even that I only had to do it one time. Like,
Well, no, because
I don't know.
you don't have enough of them to upgrade all of them, assuming you've been upgrading all of the normal abilities to like give them all the pluses afterwards.
to get all the pluses, as in like Space
Plus
Ranger
1, plus 2, plus 3.
Does it go to +3? Because I've only done that for Morphinite's sword, and
I thought it
that
goes
only,
for
like-
plus 3 for normal, but it goes to
Okay.
I think plus 2 at least.
I don't know. That's only at the very end of the game. At
Yeah,
that
but
point,
it's
your
just
ability
like,
should be so
oh,
powerful.
I
that you
kind of
should
wish
get through
you.
that up in a couple
Yeah,
minutes.
You know,
so-
I think it's also absurd that like the baby arena gives you 1 rare stone. The normal arena also gives you 1 rare stone, but the true arena that gives you 3. Why doesn't the normal arena give you 2 rare stones? That's dumb.
Sure, I can agree with that.
And I wish there was a better way. But again, I had a great time doing all of the challenge roads. Especially once I found out there were hidden challenge roads in the world map that used mouthful mode abilities. That was very interesting. I appreciated that a lot.
Wait, are all the hidden ones mouthful?
I think some of the hidden I think there are 1 and 2 hidden ones that are also copy abilities, but most of the hidden
I
ones.
didn't really pay attention to that.
But most of the hidden ones are mouthful mode, and they don't give you mouthful mode normal challenges for a while. And shout out to I have not done the Morpho Night mouthful mode. I have done the Mass DDD one or the dual hammer one. The final one where you have to use all of the mouthful mode abilities throughout the game, that one's really cool. That's such like this game's so smart. This game's so smart.
My favorite was the Katamari one.
Oh, that one's great. What were you saying, Lid?
I generally think that the treasure roads are interesting little challenges. I do kind of wish that they weren't like 2/3 of what is on the map. I kind of wish that they were somewhere else.
I can kind of get that, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Like somewhere in Waddle Dee Town, maybe.
Yeah. Like when every world has 4 levels, a boss, and like 10 of those treasure roads, it's like too many of these icons on the screen are not important enough to be taking up that much space, in my opinion.
I guess I can get that. I mean that.
I think there are more levels than that, fewer treasure roads than that. There are, maybe like 1 or 2 more treasure roads than levels per stage.
Yeah, but I get what Liv, but at the same time, that's a very minor complaint.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about bosses. Let me look up a list of them first.
There's only 10 of them.
I mean, yeah, but I want to make sure I know their names and all that. It's about being professional, Lid.
I could remember all of them.
Okay, so first off,
Actually,
we got Gorimondo.
Yes.
The first boss in this game ain't Wispy. He's next. I figure we can also talk about the harder version of the fight as well. There's no reason to space these out. Gorimondo is a very cool first boss. The part where you grab him and you have to analog stick away. He's like Kraid in Super Metroid, where he's like a big first impression that ain't that tough. He's giant, but his attacks are easy to dodge. Lid, would you like to tell me the thing you told me about the dream variation of?
Yes, I can give my I don't know if hot take is quite the right word, but this
your
is
observation.
This is something I believe is genuinely true. Phantom Gorimondo's grab is harder to dodge than Radagon's.
Who is the final boss of Elden Ring?
The first part of the final boss of Elden Ring.
Do you have an opinion on this, Eli?
I can't give an accurate opinion because I was a spellcaster in Elden Ring.
So you just didn't get grabbed.
Yeah. I think I got grabbed once by that.
Radagon's grab
Radagon's
grab is just like a ridiculously long wind-up, like multiple seconds, and then he snaps forward. Gorimondo's grab, I don't even understand how it works. I don't think it has a hitbox. It just feels like this weird scripted event, and I'm not even sure if it is dodgeable, because I never have successfully dodged it.
Really?
Yeah, I have dodged it. You jump.
I think I got hit once in the Phantom Gormando fight by the grab, but I dodged it other times.
I would also like to bring up Gorimondo, the thing we found out in the demo, which is, holy shit, witch time. Kirby has witch time. The dodge roll is so good. I did not use it much until a later boss that I will bring up, when it's the first boss where it's like, oh, you have to really start dodging. Jumping is not good enough anymore. But man, it's so funny that you can just punish him so hard with just dodging.
Andy, do you remember what I told you about the dodge in this game?
What did you tell me about the dodge?
That I didn't realize it was there until after I saw the credits.
Yeah. That would have been nice for alpha lines. I mean, to be fair, sliding is better than jumping. Sliding, I would say, is good enough for most things.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize I didn't really use the dodge until the final boss.
I used it a bit earlier, but yeah.
And there's a boss that I had a really great experience just using the slide with, which we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah.
But Gormando, yeah, pretty good first boss, but don't have much to say.
Next up, Tropic Woods, who I think isn't part of the Beast Pack?
No, he's just there.
Why does he have Waddle Dees, though? He does have a cage of Waddle...
He's an asshole, that's why.
Oh, yeah.
True.
He's a soul patch, which tells you that he's a villain.
Also, Tropic Woods has a shitty goatee. He has a shitty douchebag goatee on his face.
A soul patch, yeah.
It's fucking... this is... I would say this is the best Wispy Woods fight in the series, and also arguably the worst standard boss fight in the game, which is a testament to how fucking good these bosses are.
I really like Clanky Woods and Robobot.
Clanky's also good, but Clanky has
the
the thing where like he goes off screen and you can't hit him. You can always hit Tropic Woods, assuming your positioning is good enough. Lid, you went and when I said he was the best Wispy.
Yeah, I think that Dreamland 3 and Kirby 64 both have very interesting Wispy Woods fights.
I have not done those fights, so I cannot comment.
I agree with that. Those are pretty great too.
I think Tropical Woods is definitely a very different take on Wispy Woods.
It's cool to see him be a later game boss, even if it is still early. Like,
I think the Phantom version's great.
Oh yeah, the Phantom version where it's like, here's a maze, here's some fences and a maze. It's like, oh man. Also,
it's one of my favorite place to use the drill ability in the entire game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I can see that. Also, I want to shout out, it's real cool that you can destroy his roots.
Yes. You get a Waddle Dee for doing that.
Yes, you do. You do. But yeah, no. Alright, now... Clarline is the point where I went, oh, these bosses are action game bosses. They are, here's parry, dodge, here's some crazy attacks. Also, have you ever looked at a character and just gone, oh, this character's going to be a problem arc-wise? As immediately as because that was my immediate reaction as soon as I saw Clarline. It's like, oh.
Now,
yeah, that was my reaction when I saw Silly Dillo.
I have not I have not explored the artwork that has been made surrounding this game.
Neither have I.
But I will say that from what I have heard from stream chats and YouTube comments, is that Clarline's art is actually the most normal.
That might be true, considering the people that you might be making art of other characters. Clarline. But she's a great boss. I love the ranged attacks. I love how deranged her faces are. She's so fun. She's also the point where you really get like, oh, this is a punish. You dodge and punish is the name of this game. So then we're gonna detour off a little bit. So
now, I did not. Here's the thing, though. I would agree, except I did not know you could dodge.
Well, I mean, like her. Jump and punish anyway. Like, you know, yeah, you gotta move out of the way, and you can't be fully aggressive. You have to respect boss patterns and actually learn them in interesting ways.
But once I got to the Phantom fight, I was using the dodges, so I agree then. Yeah.
Yeah, Phantom fight of her is pretty good. I also interesting thing I want to note now, just because I mean, when you do the mini boss, the boss rush in the lava levels, they have more aggressive boss patterns than they do in their standard fights.
Yeah, they start in phase 2 essentially.
Yes, which I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get those when we did the normal arena. I think that's a little lame. Okay. So then, gonna detour. As soon as I beat Clarline, I tweeted about this. I'm like, man, I sure could use some more boss content. And then a giant Coliseum appeared with Meta Knight in it. So let's talk about Meta Knight. Meta Knight rules.
Meta Knight's pretty cool.
It's cool that you can, so cool that you can steal his sword, and then you get fucking, and then he brings out the Kirby's Adventure Sword. That's such a cool deep cut.
I would say that this is the best Meta Knight fight.
I don't know if I can go that far, but it is definitely very good. I remember I was like, oh man, this is such an easy fight. Come on, Meta Knight, you're harder than this. And then he hit me with like the big parry attack that you're supposed to dodge where he slashes you up in the air. I'm like, oh, okay, you can deal a good amount of damage. Fuck. Also, we'll talk about music, but God, his theme is so good.
I need to point out, Grammy Award winner Meta Knight.
Yes.
The Grammy Award winning Meta Knight. That is correct. Speaking of great music, though, I am going to say a sentiment, and I would like to hear your reaction. This version of DDD's theme might be the best boss theme in the entire franchise.
It's my favorite DDD theme, but I wouldn't say my favorite boss.
I like that. I also really like the Japanese, super Japanese one from Smash U. That one's really good. But this fight, man. So it's also lame that they don't play his fight when you fight the Dream version of it. No, it's just normal DDD, but it's just normal boss theme. But man, he's so cool. And the pillar. Also, he has ice powers, which is kind of out of nowhere, but whatever. It fits the theme he's from.
I love it. It's also, I don't want to say it's conclusively that this is my favorite DDD fight, as in the same way I do the Meta Knight fight, but it might be. It's really great.
I think Mass DDD from Superstar Ultra is still my favorite DDD fight.
But that's different. This is King DDD, Mass DDD. We'll talk about it later.
Buff DDD 10 out of 10.
Also, I know I sent Lid the chart. I don't know if I sent you the chart, Eli. It is insane how many times King DDD has been brainwashed.
Yes, you did.
I did. It's crazy. This guy he loves getting brainwashed. It's his favorite thing.
I have a funny story about the Phantom Ddd fight. My first attempt, I had the Space Ranger ability, and basically I'm one hit away from dying. He's one hit away from dying, and he's already gone to the background before, but now he's doing it the second time. So I think, you know what I should do? I should hold down my charge shot. What does he do? He jumps right on me.
That's what you get. That's what you get.
And then second time I beat him, but yeah.
Yeah. Man, dude, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Lid, do you have anything you would like to say about
fight.
About what?
About this fight?
The first DDD fight?
Yes.
It is fun. I like to spit the star at him.
I like that instead of Pillar in the rematch, it's one of those long Gordo things. Which did those games did this game introduce those, or were they in a previous game?
I don't recall them.
Makes sense.
I think they were in a previous game, but I don't remember.
Okay.
For sure.
Let's talk about the motherfucker that taught me to use the dodge roll. Let's talk about Silly Dillo. This motherfucker,
I love Silly Dillo.
He is a difficulty spike. He is the game going, because here's the thing. Every time that first boss fight, I would die because I could just by jumping, I could not dodge his second dodge roll on his second phase. Silly Dillo, he is a bastard. His attacks hit hard. He's fast.
Silly Dillo. The only thing with Silly Dillo that I found, like...
Oh no, I like the fight, but he is an awakening.
I'm not saying that I dislike. The only aspect of the fight that I thought was like a significant difficulty spike is that he's probably the only boss in the game where I feel like he maybe has too much health for where he is.
Yeah, he has quite a bit of health. Also,
Not if you use the hammer.
Lid, Eli, did you know that if you don't touch the analog stick when he traps you in the cage, it's a one-hit kill even if you have 2 full health bars?
Yes, and I love that. It is the easiest to avoid insta-kill,
Oh, yeah.
but
No,
it's also the only one in the game.
Yeah, it is your fault if you die to that, but at the same time, it's like, oh my god. It's
That's
so...
funny.
Yeah, no.
So I did not know how to dodge at that point. I didn't know that was really a thing. So I was using the slide, and
Slide
that
works,
was
I would say.
Fun. Use
Yeah.
the slide. Also, I did a no-hit run accidentally when on my second attempt, used the hammer.
Okay, so I'm going to say this now.
That was really cool.
I did not... So I beat him, actually, the first time fine. It was doing the no-hit run that I'm like, what the fuck? What? Because here's the thing. Until... Except for World 6, because I wanted to beat it before I talked to the game... talked to Lid, because I knew Lid beat the game at that point. I got all of the Waddle Dees in the world before I left it. And man... was doing no damage. Silly Dillo, a rude awakening. Because you can't dodge him by jumping. You just can't.
Nope.
I thought the no damage claw line was harder, actually.
Disagree, but whatever.
But I love that Silly Dillo is a wife guy.
Yeah, he is. I love this doofus. I love that the dumbest character in the franchise is a massive difficulty spike. You know what, Silly Dillo, I realized, you know what he really feels like? Feels like a Wario Land boss.
Yeah, kind of. He's got
I saw
the...
that he was a Crash Bandicoot boss, but I've never played Crash, so.
That's also true. He does have deranged mammal energy.
Yeah. Kind of like...
Ripperoo.
Oh, what's... Yeah, Ripperoo.
Forgo Ddd. It is a testament to how good the soundtrack is, and I know I've mentioned it. We'll get to that next. But that fucking Forgo Ddd's boss theme. That like when a great remix of Mass DDD's theme started playing, I'm like, oh man, I wish the first song was playing still. This boss is cool. The first phase with the dual hammers, really nice touch. The mask is a cool aesthetic. I brought this up with Lid, and he disagreed a little bit, Eli. You know what the second phase kind of reminded me of?
What?
Specifically the Ganon fight in Twilight Princess, when he's like the beast boar thing.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that this is better than any Beast Ganon fight.
Yeah, this is probably... Ocarina of Time is really good. I need to replay that one.
Oh no, I like the Beast Ganon fight. But yeah, I love that he goes feral. Also reminded me of that early boss from Dark Souls 3, the ice one.
Yeah, they both do that thing where they run around the room.
Also, the Dream Isles version, fucking man, I love that he does Mario 64, like Final Bowser Fight Mario 64, where he tilts around the platform and is just rude about it.
Tilting the fight is Bowser 2, actually.
I'm sorry. That's right. The third fight becomes the star. How dare I get something wrong in your favorite video game, Lid?
But yeah, Forgo's great. I think that these did.
I actually like DDD one. I actually like the first fight a little better, but he's still very good.
So I'm just gonna say that the worlds 4, 5, and 6 bosses do really feel better, and they of course should, than the worlds 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I would
Really
say
feels like a great-
Clarline is the point where like the bosses get really good. Like she's the jumping point for me of like, okay, this is where the game is getting real serious with boss fights. So then we get to the final area. Then we get to Lab Discovery. Let's just talk about this area for a minute. So first off, this is the Spencer Labs from Resident Evil 1 mixed with Nerve headquarters from Evangelion. There is a monologue in the background in English. It's so cool. Like everything from like the once you hit this point in the game on is just like, oh my god, this is incredible. And I think the lore stuff is interesting. I think the stuff with Leon and Elphys is really cool. I think this is I guess because you have a character that you actually like or are connected to, that is interesting. I would say this is, of the lore heavy final bosses, maybe the most interesting. Also,
I'd still put Robobot, in terms of lore, a little
that
bit
is
above it,
true,
but I
and
think it's great.
Robobot does have something better that is arguably better than any mouthful mode use in this game when you fucking take control of the halberd. That's so cool.
So the Leongar fight, I think, is just okay. The
Yeah.
Forgo Leon fight, I think it's great.
Yes, I love that he shoots once like Fecto. Once Fecto takes control of the fight, he just like shoots Kamehamehas from the mouth and is like uncontrollable energy. But when I was playing the game for the first half of Phase 1, I'm like, okay, is this the real final boss? Like, it almost tricked me. It's like, oh, okay, of course not. Of course not. Because Leo doesn't feel like final boss material, even though his design is very
If they
good.
had made him the regular final boss, that would have been so disappointing.
Oh yeah. Like,
But
so.
yeah, the Phantom World fight is, I think, one of the best in the game, but it's okay to me that the regular fight is just fine. I don't really mind that because it's part of a thing.
Yeah. So then Fecto Forgo. This boss is... I was like, oh man, this is creepy. And then I realized, oh, this boss is just easy. This is an easy boss.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. But it's just like cool that like, oh, this is a Resident Evil monster. This is literally just a Resident Evil monster.
This is the reason why in European territories this game has a rating for fear.
Yeah, no, because that design where he's disturbing. He's fucked up.
Kirby's got to get that way at the end, though.
Yeah, no. Well, this is a different... Because the thing is, like, the other horrors, I would say, were like... It's like Marks or like demon stuff. And before it was like pristine tech. I don't think we've done like bio-horror alien invader monster in a while. This is a very different kind of endgame Kirby in a fight. So then we get to Fecto Elphys. Which... Oh, boy.
Sorry, Shadow the Hedgehog, but there's a new ultimate life form in town.
When I saw that, I'm like, you motherfucker. So I have a few things I would like to say about Fecto Elphys. First off, goddamn, it has been too long since we have gotten a Sonic the Hedgehog video game where the ending of the game has a final boss that feels this grand, because he's like doing chaos control shit. He's like teleporting like giant meteors and hurling them at you, and it's like, man, we haven't had a supersonic fight this cool since Black Knight. Come on, man.
Let's hope
I would say
Frontiers.
Sonic has never had a final boss this cool.
I disagree. I think the Final Hazard is amazing. I love that Final Hazard.
Okay.
And Perfect Chaos is also pretty good.
Okay.
You can hope that maybe Frontiers delivers.
Maybe
It's the game
Spark
of
the
year.
Electric Jester 3 will deliver.
I have
Okay,
I
but,
have no doubt in my mind
Fecto
that Spark
Elfwood.
3.
You should play the Spark the Electric Jester games, Eli. But that's a conversation for another time. Second,
Okay.
so that's the other thing. Third, second, holy shit, Virgil summons swords. He's
Yes.
doing Virgil moves. He's doing Virgil moves.
And Chaos Elfless summons them around you.
Does he do it? I thought you were gonna say he does a judgment cut, and I was gonna be like, let's go. But no, okay, that's still pretty good. That's pretty good.
Can't go all the way.
Why not? What is
This is a game for 10-year-olds.
It's the true arena lid. You can do whatever you want in the true arena. There are no like.
He doesn't have Judgment Cut, but he has a lot. So I'll say
Okay,
that.
that's cool.
But I want to save Chaos Elfless more for the end, like the last.
Yeah,
thing we talk
yeah,
about.
no, we'll talk about Morpho Night next, but that's for another second.
So amazing final boss theme.
Yes, I love that theme. We'll talk about it in a second. But
You know what the name of it is?
yes, it's 2 planets between the something point, which is like I looked up.
Yeah.
Is like
Yeah, 2 planets approach the Roche limit,
which is
when
the
two-
point where they
yeah.
enter each other's gravitational spheres.
and the limit is how close they can get before pulling each other apart. And
Yeah,
exploding
no,
from the
it's such cool like it's like a Dark Souls boss mixed with a supersonic fight mixed with Virgil. It's like all of the things at once, and it's such a like man. This is a real in the running for best final boss in the series.
And again, in their first
yeah,
mainline 3D game.
yeah. Like, it was so good that I was like, oh, this is the best Kirby game. But then I thought about it and went, yeah, some of that 100% stuff's kind of bullshit. I can't give this best Kirby game.
And I've beaten it with no copyability and Mennonite Sword. It is I'm guessing
I
it also uses no
think
copyability. It's a little hard no copyability.
Yeah.
I do think it is challenging. I honestly don't think that it's the hardest one to do without a copy ability, but I think that it's because it's like definitely one of the fights that's more geared towards fighting without a copy ability.
Also,
I would say
What would you say is the hardest without?
I would say the hardest without a copy ability is probably Forgo Leon.
yeah.
That's fair. That is one of the tougher fights in the game for sure.
I would also say like this dude was my first death because I fucked up and didn't realize what was happening when he changed in the 3 eggs and he got some health back.
He was not my first death. My first death was in World 6, and it gave me the easy mode is now selectableness.
By the way,
Because I fucked up in the factory.
how easy must Spring Breeze mode be?
Yeah, I'm glad I did not play it on Spring Breeze.
I didn't even like select it, but I'm like, this is just like normal Kirby game difficulty. So like, how easy?
Yep.
I love the big rig mouth at the end. That's great.
And the
love
fact
the
that the
second phase opening up the
invincibility
sky.
music
It's
plays and you're in the truck. Dude, it's so good. It's such a good final hit. And then the credits, and oh man, it's great. So anyway, Morpho Night. So I would like to bring up one thing that is, Lid, you're gonna tell me to shut up after this. You're gonna go shut up after this, but it is objectively true. Morpho Night is canon before Galactia Night, because none of
Yes.
Galactia Knight's appearances ever are canon.
Galactonite is canon, but his appearances are.
Meta Nightmare Ultra and the True Arena aren't canon. I don't think the arenas in any of the other Kirby games are canon. I think Morpho Night got to, like, the hard mode is deliberately contextualized within the story of the game. The others, not really.
So, Morpho in Star Allies is a little underwhelming for me. But I love him here. And
That gravity
glad he
shit
got
is
the
like,
redeem
oh,
for me.
fuck off, guys. This is so cool.
Yeah, you know, you can see the butterfly in the intro of this
Yeah,
game.
I found that out.
Production.
That like they're teasing it.
Did either of you get hit by his I'm not sure what you call it, but it makes everything look really weird.
The
Like
one that turns the one that turns the screen sideways.
Yeah, that's the attack. I think I got hit by that.
Yeah, that is fucked me up more than most similar things that do that at like in video games. That did best for me. So while that was going on, I really didn't hit him at all. I just kind of avoided until that went away.
Yeah, no. Man.
I'd be okay with Galactonite coming back for future 3D.
Yeah,
but
no.
I'm glad that because in Star Allies Morphinite really wasn't that great. I'm glad that he was great here, and I love the fake out with Soul Forgo.
Yeah, that's a really good fake out.
I thought it was weird that they did that, and then that's just not something that exists in the game, not even in the arena.
Lid. Would you... you happen to have, I believe, a reaction when you hit Morpho Knight in the first time you did it. Would you like to describe that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I am absolutely shocked that they have you fight that much back to back. Obviously
on one health bar.
Well,
technically.
No. That's the thing is that they will start you from
yes, but they don't give you
the
an extra
fight
health
that you died to.
in between the phases.
But they don't refill your health or anything. So chances are
hope you didn't use the maximum tomato early.
They don't necessarily expect you to do it all in one health bar because they will start you back at a checkpoint if you die. But you're probably going to die.
Yeah, on that, if they didn't, if they had expected you to do all 3 phases on one health bar, or all
I beat Morphinite first time, but barely. So I had no idea that like you would have started back again.
Yeah, that would have been rough. I mean, I probably could. You probably could do it. Like, probably not super insanely hard, but
yeah, I did it. So.
It'd be rough. It'd be rough. It'd mean you'd have to memorize Leon before you got to Galactic Morpho.
Yeah, I tried Forgo Leon a few times though. Like that was a hard fight for me.
I still can't believe that second Leon fight at that part basically turns into a fucking 2v1.
It rules.
Yeah.
So am I the only one who's fought Chaos Elphalus? I know you two have seen him at least, but
no, I've not fought him. All right. So would you like to go over your film?
I have gotten 2 Leon in the Ultimate Cup C, but that's as far as I've gotten.
So when you say you've seen him, do you mean you've seen pictures or you've seen like?
I've seen YouTube video. I have not sat down and fully watched.
So you know what happens when he goes into his orc phase.
Yeah, he's like a big heart thing.
No. I mean the sound clip that happens.
What's the sound clip?
And here we are.
Well, that also happens whenever you every time you
but look, the second time that happened, with the Forgo-Leon fight, like that was obviously that did like wow, this is clearly we are seeing what has happened to this creature, has gone insane by being a tourist attraction. But that caught me off guard when into its final phase that played, and then it immediately does the black hole attack. That was incredibly cool for me. I want to say going into that fight, I had the fully powered up Morphinite sword. I had full health and a second bar, and a Maxim tomato. I finished that fight with using my Maxim tomato with half a bar left. That was it's not like undoable by any means, and I did beat my first try, but man.
I would also.
It's an amazing fight. It's the best fight in the game. It's one of my favorite boss fights ever. I love that even before he goes into the Ord phase, he becomes giant in the background and swings a giant spear at you, but he also still fires his sword attacks at you. So you have to dodge both. It's fantastic. And I love how he has in the Ord phase, he does the fiery Ord thing, and that's when the Roach Limit theme starts playing again. And also that he does the bounce attack that Draucia's Soul does back in Canvas Curse, but now it's in 3D. It's an amazing final boss.
Yeah, no, these are.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's not the final boss. The final boss is the Frenzy Lunge Rush.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that is, I guess, all the.
The final boss is Escargot from Right Back at Ya.
What?
That's just a random reference.
So,
let's talk about that
my
soundtrack.
time is a little short, so can we go to the music?
Yeah, sure. If you need to leave, that's fine. But let's talk about that soundtrack. This might be my favorite Kirby soundtrack. It's really, really good on so many levels. So many tracks are great. Like we brought up a lot of them, but like the mall theme, like fucking the music that plays in the Usher area, like so much of it is great.
So, I totally agree with you. I'm not sure if I definitively say it's my favorite. It's really fantastic. So longtime composers, Jun Ishikawa and Hirokazu Ando, return and they do a great job. But I have to give shout outs to the two new guys. What were their names? Yuda Ogasawara and Yuki Shimoka. They do really good jobs too. In fact, the DDD theme was by Ogasawara. So, I mean, that's just one example. So I think they are kind of maybe being prepped to take over.
That's cool.
Ishikawa and Ando leave, which they've been there for decades now, so they might at some point.
Lid, would you like to say some things?
I do think, generally speaking, it's good. It has a lot of great songs. I do find myself whistling the mall theme periodically, just doing chores and things. I do kind of think that much like sort of some of my other feelings about the game. It's so in line with sort of the general musical identity of Kirby that much like how this feels like they've always been making 3D platformers, it also just kind of feels like a lot of these songs have always been here in a way that I find kind of unexciting.
I would like to say that the one like real cool sucker punch the game does of surprise is the rock and roll remix of the Invincibility theme.
Yeah.
By the way, did you catch that Morpho Knight's part of his theme is a remix of the main title theme?
I mean, there's a lot of motifs on that main theme in this game. It's it's not quite Mario World level where like every song in the game is based on that, but it's a lot.
Well, it's not Mario level because Nintendo would never let their music be this good.
Have you seen that video? It's like a 15-minute long video where it's every time that one of the recent Kirby games, like since Nightmare in Dreamland, every time that one of those games uses the Green's melody in a different song, it's all over the place.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Here it's only in Kirby's house, I think.
I don't remember what all there was from this game. I don't think that there was much, but I know that a lot of the boss themes across the recent games have used it.
So I have one final major thing that I would like to talk about before we move into general thoughts and conclusions, which is, I think Waddle Dee Town is now my concrete answer for favorite hub world in a video game. I like Waddle Dee Town a lot.
It's great.
I don't think that it's my favorite, but I do appreciate the lengths that they went to take every like alternate mode and mini game that would usually be in a menu and make it part of the world of the main story.
I would also like to say I did not get to do the tilt and tumble minigame because I played this game on Yuzu with an Xbox controller, and those don't have gyro.
You're wrong. You're so
it's
wrong.
Probably the worst thing in this game.
It is so good.
All right, so the worst things in this game for me are the tilt minigame, which I really don't like how that controls at all, and the fact that there are only 4 mini bosses. And the fact that there are only 4 mini bosses.
That's the other thing. That's the thing that I meant to bring up during the bosses. It's lame that there are only 4 mini bosses.
And I like them, but there should have been more.
I really like all of the designs and how like tribal they feel, for lack of a better term. Like how like they have like extra hair and like more ruffled clothes and torn with tears and stuff. They're great. Couldn't you have given us like at least? I think what would have helped is Poppy Bros Senior and 1 for the new copy ability. I think 6 would be a perfect number.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's really my only issue.
I think 6 would have been the perfect number of times to fight each one throughout the game, but they went a lot harder than that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't really mind re-fighting the main bosses, but I think they definitely overdid the main bosses.
I'm gonna say the tornado one. While it's cool that it's new, that's the worst one.
Yeah, but it's not that bad.
No, it's not.
It's only bad when you have to keep fighting it.
I'm gonna say, as always, the best mini boss is Bonkers, because Bonkers is always the best.
The best is Kawasaki for me.
Kawasaki's pretty cool, but he's no Bonkers. He's no Bonkers.
That's fair.
I like what they did with Frosty.
Frosty is pretty. Frosty I think had my favorite. I think Frosty had the best design in this game. Like he looked the best.
But back to Waddle Dee Town, I think they should have something like this in every future Kirby game.
I would not complain with that, unless if they're going like Amazing Mirror style, where big open world. Other than that, yeah.
I mean, even Amazing Mirror.
That's true. You have the mirror, the door hubs. Yeah, that's correct.
They could just do
that. Yeah, they'll have like a Firelink shrine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if they did 3D, but yeah.
Just have like
I do have to get going soon, so is there anything else to?
I guess general thoughts. Do you guys have anything that you would like to say that you haven't said before?
As far as things we haven't said yet, game looks really good. Performance is not perfect, but it doesn't get in the way of gameplay. And holy cow, the load times are miles better than Star Allies.
Yeah, they were pretty quick, pretty snappy. It's nice to play a first... Oh, also, I have something that I meant to mention earlier when talking about the final area, but didn't. Eli. Kirby got voice acting before Pokemon.
Yeah. And that is a shame.
And Lid, would you like to say what you said when I told you that?
I don't remember what I said.
You told me that Kirby deserves it more.
Yeah, that is true.
No, it doesn't. But
also Kirby posits that the scariest thing is a cherry white lady.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring up a complaint. It's cool that Bandana D is your Tails. It's dumb that you can't play a Spear Kirby at all in the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully, since I am playing it through alternative means that I've mentioned before, maybe there'll be a mod to fix that in the near future.
And I never touched Bandana D, so I have no opinion on.
Yeah, he just... I've seen footage of him. He just has normal Spear moves. He's just like Spear, but...
Yeah, which would be great to do in the future as a regular, but I have no opinion on how that plays right now.
Yeah, he's got the propeller and he's got the throw, and it's like, oh, that looks fun. I wish I had that. I think that wraps it up nicely. I don't think there's that much more to talk about. This was a lot of fun doing a spoiler cast with you guys. There are a few things coming up in the year, and maybe that have already come out that I might do spoiler casts on my own on Twitch for in the future. I'm not sure. But for right now, I think that's good. Do you guys have any final last thing you would like to say about this game?
I can just reiterate that it's my favorite 3D platformer, because what I look for in a 3D platformer isn't necessarily just movement, because if that was it, this would not be my favorite. What I look for is the level design and just how it feels to interact with this level design and the enemies, monsters that are in it. And based on that standard, I would pretty comfortably call this my favorite until they make a new one, which is going to be even better.
Or maybe Odyssey 2, maybe. Lid.
I like Kirby. He is a pink guy, and you can squish him.
Okay,
He bounces.
For my final thoughts, all I really have to say is that HAL Laboratory really has proved themselves to be one of the most technically impressive Nintendo developers that they own, and I genuinely, perhaps more than any other Nintendo series outside of maybe Metroid, I cannot wait to see where Kirby goes next. And with that, I say good.